Have you ever been in an English conversation and suddenly your mind becomes completely empty? Someone asks you a simple question. What did you do today? And you know the answer. You know the words. You understand the question, but nothing comes out. You think for a few seconds. Then you say, nothing. Maybe you smile. Maybe you look away. Maybe you say, I don't know. And the conversation ends. Have you ever felt this? You are not alone. This happens to thousands of English learners every day. And here is something very important. This does not always mean your English is bad. Sometimes you have enough English. You just don't know how to keep a conversation going. You don't know what to say next. You don't know how to create an answer quickly. You don't know how to move from one idea to another. And that is exactly what we are going to work on today. In this lesson, you are going to learn how to speak English, even when your mind feels empty. You will learn how to create ideas. You will learn how to continue a conversation. You will learn what to say when you don't know what to say. You will learn simple questions that can keep a conversation alive. You will learn how to use your daily life as English practice. And most importantly, you will learn that you do not need a perfect answer. You only need one small idea. One small idea can become 2 sentences. 2 sentences can become 5 sentences. 5 sentences can become a real conversation. That is the secret. Most people think fluent speakers always have something interesting to say. That is not true. Fluent speakers also have quiet moments. They also stop. They also think. They also don't know what to say sometimes. The difference is that they know how to continue. They know how to ask a question. They know how to explain a simple idea. They know how to add a small detail. They know how to react to what another person says. You can learn these skills too. And you can learn them with very simple English. You don't need difficult grammar. You don't need thousands of new words. You don't need a perfect accent. You need a few useful speaking habits. Imagine this situation. Someone asks you, what do you do in your free time? You say, I watch videos. Then silence. You think the conversation is over. But it does not have to end there. You can say, I watch videos, especially in the evening. Now you have more information. You can say, I watch videos, especially in the evening. I usually watch English videos because I want to improve my English. Now you have even more information. Then you can ask, what do you like to do in your free time? Now the other person can speak, and now you have a conversation. Look at what happened. You did not use difficult English. You simply added a detail. Then you gave a reason. Then you asked a question. That is one of the most powerful speaking patterns you can learn. Answer, add, asks, answer the question. Add one small detail. Ask another question. You can use this pattern almost anywhere. Let's try another example. Someone asks, where are you from? You can say, I'm from Pakistan, and stop. Or you can say, I'm from Pakistan, I live in a busy city, and I really like the food there. Then asks, where are you from? Now the conversation continues. You don't need a big story. You don't need an exciting life. Your normal life is enough. This is something many English learners don't understand. They think they need interesting topics before they can speak. They think, my life is boring. I don't have anything to talk about. I don't know what to say. But you don't need an interesting story. You need the ability to talk about simple things. Your breakfast, your weather, your work, your family, your plans, your hobbies, your phone, your favorite food, your morning, your evening, your last weekend, your future plans. These simple topics are enough for hours of practice. And today, we are going to turn these simple topics into a powerful speaking system. Before we continue, I want you to do something. Don't just listen. Speak with me. When I give you a sentence, say it aloud. Don't worry about pronunciation. Don't worry about mistakes. Just speak. Because listening can help you understand English. But speaking helps you become a speaker. So let's begin with a very simple exercise. I want you to say, I don't know what to say. Again, I don't know what to say. Now change it. I don't know what to say, but I can tell you about my day. Say it again. I don't know what to say, but I can tell you about my day. That sentence is powerful. Why? Because when you don't have a topic, you can always talk about your day. Your day is always available. You don't need to remember something special. You don't need to prepare. Just talk about what happened. For example, I woke up at 7. I had breakfast. I checked my phone. I started work. I talked to my friend. I had lunch. I felt tired in the afternoon. I came home. I watched a video. I am practicing English now. Look at how many sentences you can create from one normal day. Your life is full of English. You just need to notice it. Now let's go one step deeper. When someone asks you a question, don't try to create a perfect answer. This is one of the biggest mistakes English learners make. They hear a question and immediately try to create a long and perfect sentence. That creates pressure. Instead, start with a short answer, then add one detail. For example, what do you do? I work in an office. That's enough to start. Now add one detail. I work in an office. I usually work from 9 to 5. Add another detail. I work in an office. I usually work from 9 to 5, and I enjoy working with my team. Now asks, what about you? That's it. You just created a natural conversation. Start small, then grow. This is much easier than trying to create a perfect paragraph in your head. Let's practice another one. What did you do yesterday? Don't think too much. Say, I went to the market. Now add, I went to the market. I needed to buy some food. Add, I went to the market. I needed to buy some food, and it was very crowded. Now ask, did you go anywhere yesterday? See? You always have something to say when you learn how to add information. And this is what we will practice throughout this lesson. You don't need to become a different person. You don't need to become extremely talkative. You just need to become comfortable adding one more sentence. One more sentence can change everything. Now let's talk about the real reason people get stuck. Many learners believe the problem is vocabulary. They say, I don't have enough words. Sometimes that is true, but often the bigger problem is speed. You know the words, but you cannot find them quickly. You know the sentence, but you cannot build it quickly. You know what you want to say, but you are thinking in your first language first. Then you translate. Then you check grammar. Then you speak. By that time, the conversation has already moved on. So today we are going to make your speaking faster. And one of the best ways to do that is to use ready-made speaking patterns. A speaking pattern is a simple sentence structure that you can use again and again. For example, I usually, say it. Now complete it. I usually wake up early. I usually drink coffee in the morning. I usually work from home. I usually watch English videos at night. You can make hundreds of sentences with one pattern. Here is another. I like reading. I like music. I like watching movies. I like learning English. Another. I want to improve my English. I want to speak confidently. I want to travel. I want to get a better job. Another. I think English is important. I think this is a good idea. I think learning English takes time. Another, because I am learning English because I want to communicate better. These patterns give your brain a starting point. And starting is often the hardest part. Once you begin, more ideas come. That is why you should not wait for a perfect idea. Start with a simple sentence. Your brain can build from there. Let's imagine someone asks, what do you think about English? You may think, I don't know what to say. Instead, use a pattern. I think English is very important. Now add, I think English is very important because it helps people communicate. Add another. I think English is very important because it helps people communicate, travel, study, and find new opportunities. You started with 3 words. I think English, and you created a complete answer. This is how speaking works. You don't need to know the whole answer before you start. You only need the beginning. Start speaking, then let your ideas grow. This is one of the biggest secrets of fluent speaking. Fluent speakers do not always know the entire sentence before they begin. They start, then they continue. You can train yourself to do the same. Now I want to give you a very useful sentence. Remember this. Let me think. Say it. Let me think. Again, let me think. This sentence is extremely useful. When someone asks you a question and you need a moment, you can say, let me think. Now you have time. You don't need to panic. You don't need to answer instantly. You can think for a second, then continue. For example, what is your favorite movie? Let me think. I really like. See? You created time. Here are some other useful phrases. Well, actually, I think. In my opinion. Let me see. That's interesting. These phrases help you start speaking while your brain is preparing the next idea. Let's practice. What is your favorite food? Well, my favorite food is. What do you do on weekends? Let me think. Do you like traveling? Actually, yes. I really enjoy. What is your biggest goal? In my opinion, my biggest goal is. These are simple, but they help. Now let's talk about something very important. You don't always need to answer the exact question in one perfect sentence. You can talk around the topic. Suppose someone asks, what is your favorite book? Maybe you don't read books very often. You can say, I don't read many books, but I enjoy watching documentaries. Now you have another topic. Or someone asks, do you like sports? Maybe you don't like sports. You can say, I'm not really interested in sports, but I enjoy walking and listening to music. You answered. You gave another idea. Now the conversation has somewhere to go. This is a very important skill. You don't always need the perfect answer. You need a useful answer. You can move the conversation towards something you know. This is not cheating. This is communication. Real conversations move from one idea to another, all the time. Now let's practice this skill. I will give you a question. You don't need a perfect answer. Just start. What do you usually do after work? Maybe your answer is, I usually go home. Good. Now add, I usually go home and rest for a while. Add, after that I have dinner. Add, then I watch something online. Now you have 4 sentences. Now asks, what do you usually do after work? That final question is what keeps the conversation moving. This is your new habit. Answer, add, asks, remember it. Answer, add, asks, again, answer, add, asks. Now let's practice with more examples. What do you do in the morning? I usually wake up early. Add, I usually wake up early and drink some water. Add, then I have breakfast and get ready for work. Asks, what about you? Next question. What kind of music do you like? I like relaxing music. Add, I usually listen to it when I am working. Add, it helps me feel calm. Ask, what kind of music do you like? Next, do you enjoy cooking? Yes, I do. Add, I usually cook simple meals at home. Add, I think cooking is relaxing. Ask, do you cook often? Look at this. You are not using advanced English. You are using small pieces. But small pieces connected together create fluent speech. That is the goal. Now I want to talk about another problem. Many learners think every conversation needs to be exciting. It doesn't. Small talk is normal. In fact, most conversations begin with simple topics. How was your day? Did you have lunch? How is the weather? Are you busy today? What are you doing this weekend? These questions may sound simple, but simple questions create opportunities. Don't reject simple topics. Use them. A simple topic can become a longer conversation. For example, how is the weather? It's really hot today. Add, I don't really like hot weather. Add, I prefer cool weather because I feel more comfortable. Ask, what kind of weather do you like? Now you are talking about preferences. Then maybe you talk about summer. Then travel. Then holidays. Then your favorite place. One small question can lead to many topics. This is why you should stop thinking, I have nothing to say. Instead think, I can talk about this one small thing. You don't need 10 topics. You need one topic. Then build from it. Now let's learn another simple technique. Use the 5 basic question words. What? Where? When? Why? How? These 5 words can help you create ideas. Suppose you are talking about a movie. Ask, what was the movie about? Where did you watch it? When did you watch it? Why did you like it? How did it make you feel? Won, you can use these questions for almost anything. Let's take food. What food do you like? Where do you usually eat it? When do you usually eat it? Why do you like it? How does it taste? Now take travel. What place do you want to visit? Where do you want to go? When do you want to go? Why do you want to visit? How will you travel? You can do this with your own life. And this is excellent speaking practice. Choose one topic. Ask yourself 5 questions. Then answer them. You have a complete speaking exercise. Let's do one together. The topic is my favorite place. What is your favorite place? My favorite place is the beach. Where is it? It is near my city. When do you go there? I usually go there on weekends. Why do you like it? I like it because it is quiet and relaxing. How do you feel there? I feel happy and peaceful there. Look at that. You just created 5 sentences from one topic. This is how you stop running out of things to say. You ask yourself better questions. Now let's make it more natural. Instead of answering like a robot, add feelings. Instead of, I went to the beach, say, I went to the beach last weekend, and I really enjoyed it. Instead of, I watched a movie, say, I watched a movie last night, and it was surprisingly good. Instead of, I cooked dinner, say, I cooked dinner at home, and it actually tasted better than I expected. Feelings create more language. Words like really, very, quite, a little, a bit, surprisingly, honestly, actually, can help you add detail. For example, I was really tired. I was a little nervous. It was surprisingly good. I actually enjoyed it. It was quite interesting. These expressions make simple English more natural. Now let's talk about another important skill, reacting. Sometimes you don't need a new topic. You just need to react to what the other person said. This is a very easy way to continue speaking. Imagine someone says, I went to the mountains last weekend. You can say, really? That sounds great. How was it? Who did you go with? Did you enjoy it? These are simple reactions, but they keep the conversation alive. If someone says, I started a new job, you can say, really? That's great. How do you like it? Is it difficult? Are you enjoying it? Again, simple. You are not inventing a completely new topic. You are using the person's words. This is what good conversationalists do. They listen, then they react, then they ask. So don't spend the whole conversation thinking about what you will say next. Listen to the other person. Their answer gives you your next idea. This can make conversations much easier. You don't have to carry the whole conversation alone. You just have to respond to what is already there. Now let's practice. I will say something. Imagine your friend says, I started learning English 3 months ago. What can you say? Really? Why did you decide to learn English? What is the hardest part for you? Do you practice every day? What kind of English do you want to improve? See? One sentence created 5 possible questions. This is how conversations grow. Now imagine your friend says, I watched a really good movie yesterday. You can ask, what movie was it? What was it about? Did you enjoy it? Who was your favorite character? Would you recommend it? Again, one sentence gives you many options. The more you listen, the easier it becomes to speak. Now let's talk about silence. Silence is not your enemy. You do not need to fill every second. Sometimes it is completely normal to pause. Take a breath. Think, smile. Then continue. You can say, let me think. That's a good question. I've never thought about that. These phrases give you time. For example, what is your biggest dream? That's a good question. I've never really thought about it. I think now you have time to continue. You don't need to panic. Speaking slowly is okay. Speaking carefully is okay. The goal is not speed. The goal is communication. As your practice increases, speed will come naturally. Now let's talk about the biggest mistake of all. Stopping because you think your sentence is not perfect. This happens constantly. You say, I think, then you think, no, maybe that's wrong. And you stop. Don't do that. Keep going. Maybe your grammar is not perfect. That is okay. Communication is more important than perfection. You can improve grammar later. Right now, train your ability to continue. This is especially important when speaking in real life. Real conversations move quickly. You don't have time to check every rule. You need to learn to keep going. Try this today. Choose one topic. Speak for 1 minute. Do not stop. Even if you make mistakes, even if you repeat words, even if you say simple sentences, keep talking. For example, my favorite food is rice. I eat it often. I like it because it is easy to prepare. Sometimes I eat it with vegetables. Sometimes I eat it with meat. My family likes it too. I usually eat it at lunch or dinner. Maybe this sounds simple, but you are speaking. And that is what matters. Tomorrow, try 2 minutes, then 3, then 5. You are training your brain to find ideas quickly. Now let's learn how to use objects around you. This is one of the easiest speaking exercises. Look at something near you. Maybe a phone. Talk about it. This is my phone. I use it every day. I use it for work and communication. It has many apps. I spend too much time on it sometimes. I want to use it more carefully. Look at how much you can say about one object. Now choose a chair. This is a chair. It is next to my desk. I use it every day. It is comfortable. I bought it a few months ago. Simple. But this trains your brain to create sentences. You can practice anywhere. At home, in the office, in your car, outside, at a cafe. Look around. Choose one thing. Describe it. This is an excellent way to practice when you have nobody to talk to. You can also describe what people are doing. For example, a man is walking. Two people are talking. A woman is carrying a bag. Someone is waiting for the bus. This helps you practice present continuous sentences. Then add details. The man is walking quickly because he looks like he is in a hurry. Now you are making more advanced sentences naturally. You didn't memorize them. You built them. That is exactly the skill you need. Now let's talk about another powerful idea. Use the past, present, and future. Choose one topic. Then talk about it in 3 times. For example, your job. Past. I started my job 2 years ago. Present. I enjoy working there now. Future. I want to improve my skills and get more experience. Another example, English. Past. I started learning English last year. Present. I practice speaking every day. Future. I want to speak confidently in conversations. This is a fantastic way to create more ideas. You are not asking yourself, what should I say? You are simply asking, what happened? What is happening? What will happen? That gives you 3 directions. Now let's practice. Topic, weekend. Past. I went to the park last weekend. Present. I usually spend my weekends relaxing. Future. Next weekend, I want to visit my family. 3 sentences. 3 time directions. More speaking. Now let's talk about giving reasons. Whenever you answer a question, try using because. This one word can make your answers longer. I like English because it helps me communicate. I like mornings because they are quiet. I enjoy walking because it helps me relax. I like my job because I learn new things. Whenever you feel your answer is too short, ask yourself, why? That one question can create another sentence. Now use because and so. I was tired, so I went home early. It was raining, so I stayed inside. I want to improve my English, so I practice every day. These words help you connect ideas. Then use but. I like my job, but sometimes it is stressful. I enjoy traveling, but it can be expensive. I want to speak more, but I sometimes feel nervous. Now your speech starts sounding more connected. This is how simple English becomes strong English. You don't need rare words. You need connections. Now imagine you are in a conversation and suddenly you forget one word. What should you do? Don't stop. Explain the word. For example, you forget umbrella. You can say, the thing we use when it rains. Maybe you forget refrigerator. Say, the machine in the kitchen that keeps food cold. Maybe you forget library. Say, the place where you can borrow books. This is a very important speaking skill. Don't let one missing word stop the whole conversation. Find another way. Explain. Describe. Give an example. Use a simpler word. Communication can continue. This is what real fluency looks like. Fluency does not mean knowing every word. Fluency means knowing how to continue. Now let's practice this idea. You want to say, I was exhausted, but you forget exhausted. Don't stop. Say, I was very tired. You want to say, I was disappointed. You forget the word. Say, I was not happy with the result. You want to say, I was confused. You forget it. Say, I didn't understand what was happening. You still communicated. That's a win. Now let's talk about vocabulary in a different way. Stop trying to memorize huge lists. Instead, collect useful phrases from real conversations. For example, I've never thought about it that way. That's a good question. I'm not sure, but I think, to be honest, actually, in my experience, as far as I know, these phrases help you start. Then you can add your own idea. Let's practice. To be honest, I don't enjoy crowded places. In my experience, learning English takes time. As far as I know, the meeting starts at 10. These are simple and useful. Now I want you to imagine a real conversation. Someone asks, why are you learning English? Don't say, because I need English. Try. To be honest, I want to improve my English because I want to communicate confidently with other people. Then add, I also want to understand more videos and travel more easily. Then asks, what made you interested in English? Now the conversation is open. You see what happened. We didn't use complicated words. We used a structure. Start, reason, extra detail, question. This pattern is incredibly useful. Now let's make one more pattern. I used to. This is great for talking about the past. I used to be afraid of speaking English. I used to translate everything in my head. I used to avoid conversations. I used to think I needed perfect grammar. Then, but now I speak more confidently. But now I practice every day. But now I don't worry so much about mistakes. This creates a story. People love stories, and stories are excellent speaking practice. You can tell the story of your English journey. You can talk about your first English lesson. You can talk about your biggest problem. You can talk about what changed. You can talk about your future goal. This can easily become several minutes of speaking. Now let's talk about imagination. You can also practice by creating imaginary situations. Imagine, you are at a restaurant. What would you say? I'd like to order something. Could I see the menu, please? What do you recommend? Can I have some water? Imagine you are at a hotel. Do you have a room available? How much is it? Is breakfast included? What time is checkout? Imagine you are at an airport. Where is the check-in desk? Where is gate number 5? What time does the flight leave? These situations give you ready topics. You can practice them alone. You can repeat them many times. Then when you face a real situation, the words are easier to find. Now think about your everyday life. You probably have many situations like this: shopping, work, school, travel, phone calls, ordering food, meeting people, asking for help, giving directions, talking about plans, talking about problems, talking about opinions. You don't need to practice random English. Practice English you actually need. That makes learning faster. Now let's focus on conversations at work. Imagine someone asks, how was your weekend? Don't just say, good. Say, it was good. I stayed home on Saturday, but I went out with my family on Sunday. Then, we had lunch together, and it was really nice. Then asks, how was your weekend? This is natural. At work someone asks, how is the project going? You can say, it's going well. Add, we finished most of the work yesterday. Add, we still have a few things to complete. Asks, how is your project going? Again, answer, add, asks. This pattern works everywhere. Now let's talk about friends. A friend says, what are you doing tonight? You can say, I'm staying home tonight. Add, I've had a busy day, so I want to relax. Asks, what about you? Or, I'm thinking about going out for dinner. Add, I haven't decided where to go yet. asks, do you know a good place? Simple English, natural English, useful English. Now let's talk about conversations with strangers. You don't need to start with something complicated. You can use the situation around you. For example, this place is really busy today. The weather is nice. Have you been here before? This line is taking a long time. These comments can start conversations. The environment gives you topics. So when you think, I have nothing to say, look around. There is always something happening. You can talk about the place, the weather, the people, the activity, the situation. You don't need to invent a topic. Use the moment. Now let's talk about nervousness. When you are nervous, your brain becomes less flexible. You forget words you already know. So before speaking, take a slow breath, relax your shoulders, speak a little slower. Start with a simple sentence. Don't try to impress anyone. Your only goal is to communicate. Say, hi, how are you? Then, how has your day been? Then listen. When they answer, respond to their answer. This takes pressure away from you. You don't have to prepare a huge speech. It is just one sentence at a time. That's how real conversations work. One sentence, then another, then another. You are not giving a presentation. You are having a conversation. That difference can change the way you feel. Now I want you to practice a complete mini conversation. I will give both sides. Person A, hi, how are you? Person B, I'm good, thanks. How are you? Person A, I'm doing well. Have you had a busy day? Person B, yes, a little. I've been working since morning. Person A, oh really? What do you do? Person B, I work in an office. What about you? Person A, I work from home most of the time. Person B, do you like working from home? Person A, yes, I do. It's comfortable, but sometimes I miss talking to people. Look at this conversation. Nothing is complicated. The conversation works because each person reacts to what the other person says. That is the skill you need. Not perfect vocabulary, not perfect grammar. Connection. Now let's practice another one. Person A, what do you usually do on weekends? Person B, I usually stay home and relax. Person A, what do you do at home? Person B, I watch movies, read a little, and sometimes cook. Person A, what kind of movies do you like? Person B, I like comedy and mystery movies. Person A, what's the last movie you watched? Person B, I watched a comedy last night. It was really funny. One question leads to another. This is how you can speak for a long time. You don't need a huge vocabulary. You need curiosity. When you are curious, you ask questions. When you listen, you find answers. When you answer, you add details. The conversation keeps moving. Now I want to give you a challenge. For the next 7 days, do not allow yourself to answer a question with only one word. Instead of, yes, say, yes, I do. I really enjoy it. Instead of, no, say, no, not really. I prefer something else. Instead of, good, say, good actually. I had a productive day. Say, instead of, fine. Say, I'm fine. I'm just a little tired today. This one habit can dramatically increase the amount of English you produce. Remember, don't make your answers unnecessarily long. Just make them one sentence longer. One extra sentence. That's it. Now let's practice. Do you like coffee? Yes, I do. I usually drink it in the morning. Do you like traveling? Yes, I do. I would love to visit more countries. Do you watch English videos? Yes, I do. They help me improve my listening. Are you busy today? Yes, a little. I have some work to finish. Do you study every day? Yes, I try to study a little every day. You can do this with almost any question. Answer, add, ask. Let's make that your speaking rule. When you don't know what to say, answer, add, ask. When you don't know a word, explain it. When you don't know a topic, talk about your day. When you need time, say, let me think. When you make a mistake, keep going. When you feel nervous, slow down. When your mind is empty, ask a question. These simple habits can completely change the way you speak. Now let's continue with something even more powerful. You can train your brain to generate ideas by asking why, how, and what next. Suppose you say, I started learning English. Why? Because I want better communication skills. How? I practice by listening and speaking every day. What next? I want to become more confident. Now you have 4 sentences. The same thing works with almost any topic. I started a new job. Why? Because I wanted more experience. How? I prepared for the interview and learned new skills. What next? I want to grow in this company. Again, simple, but connected. This is the real goal. You are teaching your brain to keep producing language. Now practice this with your own life. Say, I am learning English. Why? Give a reason. How? Explain how you practice. What next? Talk about your future goal. Don't write anything. Just speak. Let the words come. Do not stop to correct every sentence. Keep moving. Your goal is fluency practice. Now let's talk about using simple storytelling. Stories are one of the easiest ways to speak for a longer time. You can use this structure. First, then, after that, finally. For example, first I woke up early. Then I had breakfast. After that, I went to work. Finally, I came home and relaxed. You can tell stories about anything. A trip, a difficult day, a funny moment, a mistake, a meal, a meeting, a shopping trip, a conversation. Let's practice one. Last weekend, I went to the market. First, I bought some groceries. Then I met a friend. We talked for a while. After that, we had lunch together. Finally, I went home. This is easy, and it sounds like real communication. Now make the story longer, with feelings. I was really tired when I got home, but I was happy because I had a good day. Now you have more language. You can also add what happened next. The next morning, I decided to stay home. Now your story continues. This is how you can speak for 5 minutes about one ordinary day. You don't need extraordinary experiences. You need details. Details create language. Now let's talk about opinions. Sometimes you don't know what to say about a topic. Give your opinion. Start with, I think, I believe, in my opinion, for me, to be honest. Then explain why. I think learning English every day is better than studying once a week because regular practice helps you remember more. This is a complete answer. Now give an example. For example, when I practice every day, I feel more comfortable speaking. Now you have 3 sentences. Opinion, reason, example. This is another powerful speaking pattern. Opinion, reason, example. Use it whenever someone asks, what do you think? Let's practice. What do you think about online learning? I think online learning is very useful because it is flexible. For example, you can study from home at any time. What do you think about learning English alone? I think it can be effective because you can practice every day. For example, you can speak to yourself and record your voice. Again, simple English. Now let's talk about giving examples. When you don't know how to continue, say, for example, then give one example. This can rescue many conversations. I like learning languages because they open new opportunities. For example, English helps me communicate with people from different countries. One phrase gave you another sentence. Now use also. Also, it helps me understand more information online. Use another reason is. Another reason is that I feel more confident when I can communicate. Use that's why. That's why I try to practice every day. Now your answer becomes longer and more connected. You are not memorizing a speech. You are learning tools. That is much better. Now let's think about a situation where someone asks a difficult question. What is the biggest lesson you have learned in life? Maybe your mind becomes empty. Don't panic. Say, that's a good question. Let me think. Now choose something simple. I think one important lesson is that you should not give up too quickly. Add, I have learned that progress takes time. For example, when I started learning English, I made many mistakes, but I continued practicing. Now you have a thoughtful answer. Notice that you didn't need a perfect idea. You just needed a starting point. This is why useful phrases matter so much. They help you start. Now let's collect some starting phrases. That's a good question. Let me think. To be honest, actually, in my opinion, I think, for me, from my experience, I've never thought about that before. These phrases give your brain space. They also make your English sound more natural. Practice them until they feel automatic. Now let's talk about a different problem. Some learners know what they want to say, but they speak too quietly. You don't need to shout, but speak clearly. Open your mouth. Slow down. Finish your words. Use your voice confidently. Practice reading aloud every day. Read one short paragraph, then read it again. Then explain it in your own words. This combines reading and speaking. Now try this. Read. Learning English takes time, but regular practice can make a big difference. Now close your eyes. Explain the same idea using your own words. English doesn't improve overnight. But if I practice every day, I can become better. You just practiced real speaking. You read. You understood. You changed the words. You spoke. This is excellent training. Now let's talk about speaking alone. Some people think, how can I practice if nobody speaks English with me? You can practice alone. Talk to yourself. Ask yourself questions. Answer them. Describe your surroundings. Tell stories. Record your voice. Repeat phrases. You have many options. For example, what am I doing now? I'm sitting at my desk. What do I need to do today? I need to finish my work. How do I feel? I feel a little tired, but I'm okay. What am I going to do tonight? I'm going to relax and watch something. This is real English practice. Do it every day, even 5 minutes. Now let's make this practice more challenging. Set a timer for 2 minutes. Choose a topic. Speak without stopping. If you get stuck, use another thing is. Also, by the way, actually, you can use these phrases to move to a new idea. For example, I like my job because I learn new things. Another thing is that I work with good people. Also, the schedule is convenient. By the way, I am thinking about taking a new course. Notice how the conversation changes naturally. These phrases help you transition. They give your brain a bridge from one idea to another. That is exactly what you need when you feel like you have nothing to say. Now let's talk about changing topics politely. Sometimes you are talking about one thing, but you want to talk about something else. You can say, by the way, speaking of that, that reminds me. On a different note, these phrases help you move. For example, I've been really busy with work lately. Speaking of work, I am thinking about changing my schedule. Or, I went to the beach last weekend. That reminds me, I really want to plan another trip. This makes your speaking smoother. You are not stuck on one topic. You can move naturally. Now let's practice another important habit. Repeat key words from the other person. Suppose they say, I've been learning English for 6 months. You can say, 6 months? That's great. Then ask, what made you start? The repeated words give you time and show that you are listening. Suppose someone says, I visited Turkey last year. You can say, Turkey? Nice. Which city did you visit? Again, easy. You don't need to invent the question from nowhere. Use the last important word. This is a very useful conversation trick. Listen for keywords, then ask about them. Now let's talk about the feeling of having nothing to say. Sometimes it is not actually a language problem. Sometimes you are too focused on yourself. You are thinking, am I speaking correctly? Do I sound stupid? Is my pronunciation okay? These thoughts use your mental energy. Instead, focus on the other person. What did they say? What are they interested in? What can you ask them? When you focus on the conversation instead of yourself, speaking becomes easier. Remember, a conversation is not a test. You are not being graded. You are communicating. That mindset can make a huge difference. Now I want you to imagine something. Imagine that tomorrow you meet someone who speaks English. Instead of thinking, I have nothing to say, you think, I can ask questions. You ask, how was your day? Then, what do you do? Then, how did you get interested in that? Then, what do you usually do on weekends? Now they answer. You listen. You react. You ask another question. The conversation continues. You don't need to talk constantly. Good conversations are not one person speaking for 10 minutes. They are two people sharing ideas. That means you don't have to carry the entire conversation. You only need to contribute. One sentence, then another. That's enough. Now let's practice a longer conversation. Person A. Hi, how are you? Person B. I'm good, thanks. How are you? Person A. I'm doing well. What have you been doing today? Person B. I've been working most of the day. Person A. Are you usually busy? Person B. Yes, most days are busy, but I don't mind. I enjoy my work. Person A. What do you like about it? Person B. I like working with people, and I learn something new almost every day. Person A. That sounds interesting. How long have you been doing it? Person B. For about 3 years. Person A. Do you think you'll continue doing it? I think so. But I'd also like to learn some new skills. Look at how natural this is. Nobody is using huge words. The conversation continues because each answer creates another question. This is the skill you need. Now let's create your own conversation formula. Start with the topic. Give an answer. Add a reason. Give an example. Ask a question. For example, I enjoy learning English because it helps me communicate with more people. For example, I can understand videos and speak to people online. What about you? Why are you learning English? That is a complete conversational turn. Now let's practice with another topic. I like traveling because I enjoy seeing new places. For example, I really want to visit a few countries in the future. What place would you like to visit? Another. I enjoy cooking because I can try different foods at home. For example, I like making simple rice and chicken dishes. Do you enjoy cooking? Another. I like mornings because they are quiet. For example, I can think clearly and finish important work before noon. Are you a morning person? This is how you create ideas. Topic, reason, example, question. Now let's talk about a very important word, because. When you don't know how to expand an answer, add because. When you still need more, add for example. When you need to continue, add also. When you need to finish, ask a question. These small tools are enough to create longer speech. Now let me give you a simple challenge. For the next week, choose one topic every day. Day 1, your daily routine. Day 2, your favorite food. Day 3, your work or studies. Day 4, your family. Day 5, a place you want to visit. Day 6, your biggest goal. Day 7, your English journey. Speak about each topic for 3 minutes. Don't write a script. Don't memorize. Just speak. If you get stuck, use questions. What? Where? When? Why? How? Answer. Add. Ask. This simple routine can make a big difference. Now let's talk about progress. You may practice for a few days and think, I'm still making mistakes. That's okay. Mistakes are not proof that the method is failing. Mistakes are part of the training. The important thing is that you are producing more English. Maybe today you can speak for 1 minute. Next week maybe 3 minutes. Next month maybe 10 minutes. That is progress. Don't expect a dramatic change overnight. Language grows slowly, but it grows. Every sentence adds something. Every conversation teaches you something. Every mistake gives you information. Keep going. Now I want to return to our main question. How do you speak English when you have nothing to say? You don't wait for a perfect idea. You create a small idea. You talk about your day. You ask a question. You add a detail. You give a reason. You give an example. You react to what the other person said. You explain a word when you forget it. You use simple phrases to give yourself time. You tell a small story. You talk about the past, present, and future. You use what is happening around you. And most importantly, you keep going. That is the real skill. You don't need to become the most talkative person in the room. You just need to stop letting silence control you. When your mind feels empty, don't panic. Take a breath. Say, let me think. Then start small. I think, I usually, I like, I want to be honest. Then add, and keep going. You may be surprised by how much you actually have to say. Because the problem was never that you had no ideas. The problem was that you didn't know how to turn one small idea into more English. Now you do. And from today, I want you to practice differently. Don't wait until you have a conversation with someone. Create conversations yourself. Ask yourself questions. Answer them. Record your voice. Listen. Try again. Make your answers longer. Then make them more natural. Then use them with real people. This is how confidence grows. Not by waiting, by doing. So the next time someone asks, "What do you do?" don't just say, "I work." Say, "I work in an office. I usually start at 9, and I enjoy working with my team. What about you?" The next time someone asks, "How was your weekend?" don't just say, "Good." Say, "It was good. I stayed home on Saturday, but I went out with my family on Sunday. We had lunch together. How was your weekend?" The next time someone asks, "Why are you learning English?" don't panic. Say, "I'm learning English because I want to communicate more confidently. I also want to understand more English content. What about you?" Now you are speaking. And that is the goal. Not perfect English, not complicated English, useful English, clear English, confident English, English that helps you connect with people. And that is something you can build every single day. Start with one sentence, then another, then another. Soon you won't be thinking so much about what to say. You will simply speak. And when that happens, you will realize something important. You never needed to have something amazing to say. You just needed to know how to keep the conversation moving. Keep practicing. Keep listening. Keep asking. Keep answering. And most importantly, keep speaking. Your English does not need to be perfect to be powerful. You just need to use it. Today, tomorrow, and every day after that.